Hey everyone, back with another tutorial. Again, haven't posted in a while, haven't had time, been very busy. I don't even want to get into it. So if you're still here, thank you for watching again. And I just wanted to do another video when I can because I enjoy them. And yeah, I guess also I have been working on this track, and I wanted to kind of show you today, as it's getting closer to completion, kind of the mixing decisions and more focusing on mixdowns today and the effect of mixdowns. And with that, how sometimes it pays off to have a good mixdown and it can really make a difference in a track. A lot of the time you'll continue to make a track and, it will become evolved, and I think sometimes you'll think it's muddy or it doesn't sound right, and I wanted to talk about the effects of a mixdown and what basic mixing decisions you can make to kind of clean up your mix. And these are just the mixing decisions I've made, but yeah, in that also remixing down all the elements against the kick is very important as well. When considering basically what you're doing. So I'm going to play this track, and first thing I'm going to do is just talk about the mixdown, and I'm going to show you a before and after, and then hopefully you understand kind of what I mean. When if you mix down the elements against the kick properly, the track is going to sound much cleaner and much tighter as well. So this is before I mixed it down. I've just opened an old project, very similar elements, but you'll hopefully be able to tell the difference around how it sounds before and after the mixdown, and I'll kind of tell you what I did. So I'll play the track and then we'll go from there. So I just let that play on for a bit, and you can kind of tell, like, it's good, but it's not amazing. And if I look at the drop and everything like that, like, all the elements are there. Now, I haven't finished the second half of the track, but it's just not sounding tight. And I think one of the things you need to start doing is when you come to a track, your kick's going to always be your loudest sound with your leads. So when you're looking at your kick, I've kind of, let me see. Yeah, I've got a Sonar Works, that's fine. But you can kind of see here, the kick is peaking at minus 10.9, and that's fine. So really everything else should be at a point where, don't worry about the peaks, but it shouldn't be over that. But what you should be able to hear for is this: the kick, the bass line, and any other element needs to make the kick punchier. So how you do a mix down is, if I play the kick in singularity, you'll hear some nice low end of it. Let me just turn this sonar works off. There we go. So you'll hear the track in the nice kick. It's got a nice bottom end, you know. You want to bring that out. I'll talk about bringing that out in another video, but you know, you've got this nice bottom end, and as soon as I put the bass line into it, it's kind of drowning out. And what you want to do, you want to make sure that that roundness is not lost. So I'm going to bring this all the way down, and I'm going to bring it up until the point I think the roundness of the kick is not lost. Okay, so hear that kick nicely. That's getting about pretty close. That's getting, to me, a little bit loud. About there. So that's now at minus 21.5. You can still hear the roundness of the kick because the kick needs to be front and center and really punching through. If I go back to the old way, it's 14.7. Maybe even there somewhere, you know? It was way too loud. That's at least a 5 dB reduction. So I'll do the sub bass as well. And that is starting to sound more level. So you can see it's reduced quite a bit because the kick needs to be front and center, and that roundness cannot be lost. It is your utmost importance that that roundness is not lost against other elements. And you do that synonymously throughout the track with your highs. Look at your peaks. Now the highs don't interfere with the kick that much, but balance them against your mid bass. So if I go here, now some people like their highs to be more punchier. Some people like them to be more in the background. That's up to you, but now you see the other elements that came in, like the snares. You can hear that big percussive hit somewhere as well. But just balance that all out. Make sure it's all coming together nicely. Make sure you're not getting anything strange or... I'm going to try to find that. Where's that big percussive hit? Maybe it's this one. No. I'll talk about layering snares and claps in another video as well. But anyway, there was a big percussive element, and I found it in my remix down. I won't bore you with trying to find it, but mix it all down and make sure that everything lines up with the kick and where the kick is rounded and punches through nicely. I'm going to pause the video and then I'm going to open the MIXDOWN project and then I'll show you the difference. All right, guys, we're back. So this is the MIXDOWN project and I'll just quickly play it for you and you'll hear the difference. immediately. Hear that kick? Nice and center. One thing I'll quickly add is all of the elements in this mix are actually lower and sitting lower, and I've brought all the volumes down to achieve this. I have not actually increased anything in volume to make this happen. Look at where the bass line sits, 20.4. So you see, making a mix down of a track automatically changes what it's about. And I've just brought elements down. Before, the mid basses were at minus 14.9 or something, and now they're at minus 20.4. And I've adjusted all the percussions as well to bring them down there as well to the main percussion group, which includes the snares and all of the other elements. Of course, you know, mix your percussions down in one hit, and then you can just control the group. If you feel like something is sticking out, you can always go back individually and adjust things, but that's generally the good consensus. And then, of course, you adjust everything else. So I've brought everything down to achieve that. And even with the drop, I haven't finished this, but you'll notice with the pianos, they were already quite high, and now they have space to breathe. And then because the pads are lower, that has space to breathe. I don't have to boost anything. And now the drop. Not that great at the moment, but I've got room to work with. And you can see the kick and the lead are front and center. And the only thing that should be as loud as your kick is your lead. I guess in simple terms, that's the loudest elements in a track. But everything else, you know, make sure that kick is punching through. And yeah, even with your effects, you know, oftentimes it's just about taking things out, not about adding more to create room to breathe. That's what you want. I'll do another video on room to breathe as well. All right, guys, I thought I'd include that tip. Any suggestions for tips or any suggestions for videos that you would like, please let me know and I will be happy to do them. All right, catch you in the next one.